Harlequin Presents and Harper Audio present His Royal Bride Replacement and Vows to a King, featuring His Royal Bride Replacement by Lynne Graham, performed by Melanie Crawley, and Vows to a King by Tara Palmy, performed by Sasha Mia Khan. His Royal Bride Replacement.
Chapter 1. Prince Alessio Marchetti strode out of his private apartments in the Sedovian palace. 6 feet 4 inches tall, he had a shock of unruly long black hair that brushed his shoulders and bright green eyes set into a lean, sculptured face. A tiny gold hoop gleamed in one ear, while the hint of a tattoo showed below the edge of a pristine shirt cuff. Impeccably dressed though he was, in a Brioni suit complete with monogrammed cufflinks, there were hints that he was not as conservative as he might appear at first glance. Alessio slid fluidly into the luxury car awaiting him in the courtyard. His security team, all of them in a dour mood at the prospect of policing him in a public place, where anything might happen, swung into 2 far less noticeable vehicles to follow him down the hill into the city of Severino. It was a sunny, early summer day, and the air was crisp and clean. Alessio braked to avoid the morning parade ground activities of the household guard out front before angling the car deftly over the bridge that led down into the town. Picturesque as any postcard with colourful window boxes and quaint, narrow buildings with steep roofs, the streets were busy. Tourist numbers were down, though, because many of their country's visitors had picked their holiday dates to coincide with Alessio's wedding and its accompanying festivities, which were due to take place in 2 weeks' time. The wedding would soon be followed by an equally grand coronation, at which Alessio would ascend the throne alongside his future consort, Princess Graziana of Ibolz, an island nation off the coast of Sedovia. Alessio, meanwhile, was dreading the wedding with every fibre of his being. He was almost 28 years old, and he had always known he would have to marry young. He could not become king until he was married and in a position to provide an heir. It was just Graziana, a perfectly nice woman, he reminded himself, who he had known since he was 10, although they had not met that often during their childhood, and neither of them had sought each other out as adults. Sadly, Graziana had no sense of humour, he reflected uneasily. She was also short-tempered with the staff and given to childish tantrums if challenged, but he could handle that, he hastily assured himself. It would be a modern-day marriage of convenience. Just like his parents, they would marry, eventually produce a royal heir, and then discreetly go their separate ways. Duty done. It had worked for his parents, although they had pretty much hated each other and had not been much keener on their single offspring, no matter how hard Alessio had tried to impress and please. A vague memory of gathering flowers for his mother assailed him. She had thrust them away in absolute horror lest the pollen from the stamens stain her dress. He had been punished for that gift, just as he had been punished for sneaking into his father's study to tell him that he had won a prize in mathematics, only to discover that his parent was entertaining a half-naked woman in there. No. Neither of his parents had liked him much. He had been both a necessity and an inconvenience to them. Neither of them had enjoyed the intrusion of a noisy little boy in their sophisticated, separate households, and they hadn't warmed to him any better when he'd tried to be quiet and studious instead. That he had gone off the rails as a teenager had been almost inevitable. Hence the long hair, the tattoos, the
Sample complete. Ready to continue?